on that we'll be learning about creating a business plan and creating a page. And that will be taken by Mr. Vincent Okeke. Once again, I said he's the co-founder and CEO of Legit Car Africa. It is a vehicle verification and evaluation startup in Nigeria. He has over 10 years of experience translating ideas into visuals and action in the agri-tech and auto industries. He has managed different teams, both small sized and medium sized, large teams, and he has led them to build and ship products that users love and that are still in operations till today. So if there's anybody that has the requisite experience to teach us as businesses the things that we need to put into our pitch, into our business plan to ensure that we can convince investors to invest in us, to convince our customers that yes, we are the real deal, we are the actual businesses that they should use and they should patronize, is the best person. So once again, let's welcome him with some of our reactions, a clap, a cheer as he takes the center stage and starts the lecture. And let's have our notes, writing pads ready to learn and jot things down. So thank you and welcome, Mr. Okeke.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the warm welcome, for the warm reception. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
All right. So I'm happy, very, very happy to be here with you today. So how has it been going? Can anyone answer for the class? How has the class been going? How the program been going?
Yeah, very well, sir. That's been going fine.
All right, I'm happy to hear that. So we have about I'm not sure we have up to 30 minutes, but then let's see what we can cover before it's time up. You can see my co-founders behind me, my children. It's a Saturday, so of course we are going to be having them be in this class with me from time to time. All right, so let's start with introduction. So a minute introduction. How many of us are in the class? We are up to 10, yeah. So let's a minute introduction, who you are and what your business is about, so I can have a background. I've seen your profiles, but I would like to hear from you too. So please, Samuel, I can see your name first. Let's go with Samuel. Samuel, please. Samuel Akinyemi.
Oh, okay, sir. Please, can you come again, sir?
All right. So introduce yourself and your business in a minute.
Okay, sir.
Or less. If you can do 30 seconds, fantastic, but not more than a minute.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm Samuel Akinyemi, and I'm currently a co-founder of a startup, university. Basically, what we are intending on is we created a platform to help students buy manuals and school materials, basically. So, and it's currently in operation at FUNAB, and we're just trying to learn more and scale up the business. So, I think that's just a brief about what I do.
All right, that's fine. Thank you. Blessing Patrick. Blessing Patrick, are you on the call? All right, Precious Oko. Blessing Patrick is not on the call. Precious.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Come on.
I'm Precious Oko. Currently I deal on perfume retailing, but I plan on creating a business of a chain of departmental stores easy products at affordable price. Yes, thank you.
All right, that's fine. Orishamisa. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Orishamisa and Omare. Is he on the call? All right.
Omari, please. Okay. Okay. He said he's in transit, so he can't speak. Where he is not exactly.
All right. Ayodele Olatunji Charles.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Olatunji Charles Ayodele. Currently, I work as a class teacher, and also I sell phone accessories. So I think that is all for now.
Okay. Let me look at the other one. So Adekoya Adeola. Oh, okay. Adekoya is the meeting host. Okay. Ogunade Adenike. Adenike.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
My name is Adenike Ogwade, and currently I sell anything ladies, female wears, anything fashion, and also looking into starting a business with dried fruits.
All right. Okay, so it's great meeting all of you. Like I already said, my name is Vincent, and yeah, my strength is translating ideas into visuals and action. And for that to happen, you already know that you're going to be talking to many people about your business many times. Why I asked all of you to do that, some might not be expecting it, but that's the nature of your job as an entrepreneur. You never know when you'll be required to talk to people about what you do. It could be in church, at a burial. In fact, the list is endless. You can meet someone who will immediately ask, what do you do? Where do you work? And then that's an opportunity for you to pitch what you do. So one of your most important jobs as an entrepreneur is to pitch your startup many times. So the topic we are going to be discussing today, which is how to prepare a pitch deck, and how to, of course, preparing a pitch deck or preparing a presentation means you're also going to be doing a great presentation, and also how to prepare a great business plan. So it's part of it. So that's what you write. But then you can't just write without being able to. You can't just write a business proposal, a business plan, or prepare a pitch deck without being able to present it. So yeah, so it's part of that. That's why I decided we're going to be starting with that. So let me share my screen now, so that we get going. Okay, give me a second. Hmm. Mm. So I'm trying to get this. It's not. Can anyone see my screen yet?
No, sir.
No,
No.
not yet, sir.
Oh. Okay. All right, you should be able to see it now.
Yes, we can see it now.
All right, give me a second. All right. Just trying to get this out of the way. All right, so here's what you should know about preparing a pitch deck and creating a business plan. Pitch decks are have mostly replaced business plans, mostly, especially for startups. Yeah, the reason is simple. So, but then going down to when we go further into the class, you see that business plans still have their very important uses. But then for startups, we are going to be focusing mostly on pitch decks, because that's what people who you are going to be talking to would like to see. In the last 10, 15 years, investors and organizations would like to look at pitch decks, especially at your stage. At more advanced stages of your business, you might need to do a business plan. But then at this stage, the people you're going to be sharing documents with, like 9 out of 10 of them would want to see your pitch deck instead of a business plan. And the reason is simple. A pitch deck has a fewer number of pages, and then it's more visual. And in 5 to 10 minutes, the investor or the person you're talking to has already browsed through your pitch deck, picked the most important things, and made a decision, I'm telling you, if they're going to move ahead with you or not. Unlike a business plan. So a business plan is a bulkier document, and not a lot of people have the patience to go through a business plan, except they specifically require it or request for it. And at that stage, most of the time, they have already seen your pitch deck and they said, okay, I want this to be more elaborate, to be more detailed. So here's what you should know. Pitch decks have mostly replaced business plans, especially in tech-enabled businesses. So we'll be paying closer attention to pitch decks, which are mostly divided into investor decks and presentation slides. So presentation slides is like the one I'm using now to do this presentation to you. So the difference between investor deck and presentation slides, when you are sending an investor your investor deck, you are not there to explain it to them. So the investor would just need to look at your deck and understand what your business is about. So what that means is that it has much more text, unlike presentation slides. Presentation slide, because you're there, you are presenting with it. It means that not everything needs to be written or elaborated. Some of it you just need to talk about it. Like now that I'm talking, it's not everything I'm saying that's here on the slides. But that's not the case with investor decks, because with investor decks, I won't be there to explain to the investor when he's reading it or when they are reading it. So they need to see all the information I want to pass across in the deck. Now, the reality, so this is according to research, the reality of the industry is that investors respond to only less than 10% of decks and invest in less than 1%. So if they respond to less than 10% of decks, it's for a reason. They don't have the time. They don't have the time to waste on very bulky documents. They don't have the time to waste on documents that are not well presented and not well packaged and not well prepared. So if you want your deck to be in the 10% and to secure funds in times of recession, just like we have now, you really must put your best foot forward. Okay, so some of the common mistakes observed include avoid wishy-washy openings, fix broken storylines, and try weaving in the core idea to hold the story. So whenever, when presentations happen, when it's time for presentations, there's something I usually tell people, especially when it's a competition. So as a business, you're always in competition, because for every presentation slide you have, we are still going to go to that. There are other people who have the same idea or who have similar ideas, and you're competing with them, especially in Africa, in Nigeria and Africa, where the funds are limited, the resources are limited. You are competing with similar startups to get a place in an accelerator program, or to win a prize, or to get an investor's attention. So there's this scramble, this continuous scramble for these very limited resources. So the best you can do is to be very, 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 very prepared. In fact, when you think you have prepared enough, that's when you even need to prepare more. Why am I saying this? If you have a presentation, if you have a pitch deck, if you have a pitch competition, now sometimes people say, I have practiced enough. I don't think there's anything left to practice. But the funny thing is that is when you need to even practice more. Sometimes even as good as I am with the numbers in my business, with how my business works with operations, when I have a presentation, I practice more than 200 times. It might sound unreal, but yes, if you start your practice a month ahead and you do 10 practices a day, you hit more than 200. So when you get to that point, it's no longer about what you say. It's now about how you say it, because you've mastered the art of what to say. Now, how you say it is now what matters. I can tell you that telling an investor, look at the way I'm going to say these two things. I need money. I need money. There are two things. There are two different things. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying them in two different ways. Like the stress on my voice, and I don't want to go into how I'm going to use different words to pass across the message. Now, the tone of my voice. I can tell you that the tone of my voice when I said it the second time was like the investor, oh, this guy is breathing. I want to hear what he has to say and why he's saying that he needs money and he's so serious about it. Is anyone still following me? Can you still hear me?
Very clear, sir.
All right. So when designing a pitch deck, you should ask the following questions. Is my opening gripping enough to make them want to continue reading? Now, the opening, it is the same for all the documents you prepare for your business, for a business plan, for your investor deck, and even for your presentation. When you're doing a presentation, I want to focus a lot on pitch decks and presentations, because that's what you're going to be doing a whole lot. And I'm sure you sent in a deck or a presentation or an application before you got into this program. So in the next few months, you're going to be getting into a lot of other programs, and they're going to be doing a lot of presentations, a lot of storytelling. And it has to catch people's attention within the first 10, 15, 20 seconds. Now, if you lose people or your audience in the first 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, it's hard for you to get their attention back. But then, even if the time is very short and you're not able to practice your pitches very well, be sure that your first 15, 20, 30 seconds are solid, that they're on point. Let me explain to you the psychology behind that. The psychology behind that is that when you have a very strong opening, even if you don't make a lot of sense, even if you fall off along the line, okay, there's still that interest. Oh, he made sense. I'm sure he's going to say something else that's going to make sense. They will wait and keep listening for you to make sense. So even if you don't make a lot of sense, like you made in the first 30 minutes, the interest is sustained. Now, let's flip this. If in the first 30 minutes, 30 seconds, nobody wants to listen to what you want to say, you didn't catch their attention enough, I can tell you that getting people to listen to you along the line is very, very difficult. So the first 15, 30 seconds are critical when you are making a pitch. That's why you see movie ads in the first 10, 15 seconds that are meant to catch your attention. So you want to go and watch these movies. But then if that does not happen, if the ads do not catch your attention, I'm not sure you want to go in and watch that movie. So that's exactly how it is with businesses and presentations. So is my opening gripping enough to make them want to continue reading or listening? Does my story or does the story make sense? So the story is the soul of if we had time, I would have. I wanted us to tell to say why we are actually doing this business, and the why is so broad. Like, why are you doing this business? Why are you selling perfume instead of selling fish in the market? What prompted you to do this? So there are lots of things that you can craft into your why, and the why is the story. Why am I doing this? What is this? So for some people, it could be a lot of things. It could be the experiences they had. For some people, it could be social impact. For some people, it could be to make a lot of money. So the why is very broad. It could be anything. But why are you doing this business? If you've not thought about it, you should think about it very carefully, because that's your story. So a lot of investors actually invest in two things: in you as an entrepreneur, and then in the why. So why are you doing this? Some will say, I'm doing this because in Nigeria, about 2 million people go hungry every day, and this is something that's been, so this is social impact. I'm just trying to give you an example. This is something that's been bothering me, and so some say, why? Okay, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because last year I lost a friend to cancer, and I decided, so there are so many reasons why you are doing. So you ask someone again, why are you doing this? They'll say, okay, the automotive business in Nigeria is worth 50 trillion, and this is untapped. So we decided that we could key into this market. So the why could be anything. It could be for financial gain. It could be for social impact. It could be, but it needs to be a story. It needs to be a story that elicits emotion. Depending on who your investor is, if it's an impact-driven investor, it could elicit emotion. It could be, if it's not impact-driven, if it's a fintech or a financial-driven investor, you show them how they can make money from your story, or why the market is big, or why you are the best guys to do this, or why are you doing this. So let's go to the next one. So the mistake. Information overdose is one of the mistakes. So it's stuffing the business plan with or pitch deck with unnecessary technicalities. Meanwhile, in reality, they skim through their inbound, spending an average of 3 minutes and 44 seconds reading each deck and 20 minutes listening to your presentation. So investors have very, very limited time. Sometimes I've talked to an investor that say they receive about 50 decks a day. Some receive much more than that if they're global investors. So if someone receives 50 decks a day, do you think they have, once they look at the first 2 slides and they don't like it, they've moved on to the next one? So this is what you should have. This is what, so this is like the standard for investor decks. So the problem, opportunity, the value proposition, the traction, the market size and market potential, team background, strategy and vision, competition and long-term market positioning, financial projections, and the ask. So depending on who you're asking, this can be rearranged in a lot of ways. And for presentation decks, they are similar. But then for presentation decks, I usually like to, the way I prepare presentation decks is I usually like to write a script. So when I write a script of the kind of story, so when writing a script, I take my audience into account. If there are investors in the room, I take them into account. I want to, what would they like to hear? What would the audience like to hear? How does it affect them? Do I have potential customers in the room? Then I draft a story and then try to make my deck to explain my story more. Why I'm saying this is that I've seen a lot of pitches. In fact, I've not just about seen a lot of pitches. A lot of people who pitch, they usually prepare a presentation deck, and then you hear something like problem. They start reading their deck, then they go to the next one, solution. They start reading their deck, or they start mentioning stuff from their deck. But what it should be is that you are telling a story. You are telling a big story. And then you are flipping or you're changing pages so that some of the information you're not able to say, the people who look at your audience will look at your slides and see it. So your deck should explain your story more, not the other way around, not you explaining your deck. Your deck should explain your story more. So you're telling, especially when it comes to business, you are telling your story, the story of your business, well, the problem you saw, how you're solving it, and all that. So it's a big story. But then the slide is basically helping people understand the story you're telling more. So once you look at presentations this way, you are not going to be having a lot of breaking, and it takes a lot of practice. I'm saying it sounds easy, but it's doable, and that's what I do all the time when I have to pitch my business. What it does is that it keeps people in trade, because people like storytelling. Storytelling can never go out of fashion. People have been telling stories since human beings have been alive, and stories are never going to end. That's why the movie industry is a huge industry. It's about storytelling. So storytelling is like one of the oldest arts in the world, and it's not going anywhere soon. So that's the art you're going to be bringing into your pitch. You're going to be telling a big story. Your entire pitch should be a story, and then your slides would be broken down into these to explain it more. So why I'm saying this is that this order is not cast on stone. It can be changed depending on how your story is. You can change. Market size can come second to last. Competition can come where the traction is. So it's in no particular order. Now let's go to the next one. Lack of vision. Okay. Yeah. So sometimes the why will also enable you to answer the lack of vision question, because why also includes if an investor asks you, why am I going to invest in your business? So you can also answer, you can now say, it's because of the team, it's because of where we are headed, it's because of the size of the problem we're solving. Why are we so the why is broad, like I told you, and it can answer a lot of questions about what you're doing and why you are doing it. Yeah, and why anybody is going to trust you to be the one to solve that problem. I hope I'm not overshooting my time. I started late. Am I behind schedule?
No, you're right on time. You still have to 12:30, 12:40, sir.
12:13.
12:30,
okay.
12:30.
Oh, 12:30. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go then. So another reason why your business plan might not be the best is lack of market research. A lot of people do not do a lot of research when crafting a business plan. So let me give you an example. There was a business I did. There was an agri-tech business I did. We had to close operations because it's not like we are not making money. We are making money, and very good money. But then our most important hypothesis was that Nigerians like to buy farm produce online, which is not true. So what happened was that we had a beautiful website and we had prices of our items. You can purchase stuff there and it's delivered. But when people go to that website, what they do is they look at the prices of our stuff and they use the chat button and come back to chat with us. Okay, how much you say this thing be last? This your bag of rice, how much it be last? I won't buy 20, I won't buy 30. And they don't want to check out online. They want to talk to someone, and they want they want to bargain, and then they want the business to be taken offline. So you can see we didn't do enough market research. We've wasted money building that website and putting all the fancy things, the checkout. In fact, we got some money from investors. But the most important research we needed to do, which is what our business is based on, that Nigerians can buy farm produce online, it wasn't true. More like 98% of our transactions were offline. They come to our website, see what we're selling, and then they still have to talk to someone. So he put a lot, we saw it was not sustainable. It was early days, but we are already strained. So what of when we go to the point where we have hundreds of thousands of orders, which is actually the point of starting the business in the first place. We can handle that amount of growth offline. So we talked to our investors and decided, nah, this is not the right time. And the best thing for everybody to do is to shut down the business, return the money to the investors, and then everybody goes home happy. So what am I saying? Lack of market research made us to waste that amount of time and effort doing something that was not going to scale. So before you go into that business, you should have assumptions that should be true. Assumptions that be true. So I'm doing this business based on the fact that I think that out of the population, Nigeria has a population of about 220 million people. Out of that about 20 million of Nigerians can even afford to buy what I'm selling in the first place. So if that proposition, if that assumption, which you are basing your entire business upon, does not hold true, there's every chance that your business is going to fail. So today, one of the things you're going to take away from this is what is the most important assumption for your business, with such that if this thing is not true, if this assumption is not true, then I don't have a business, then my business is going to fail. So for our business at Legitcare now, our most important assumption is that people who want to buy used cars, or insurance companies who want to insure used cars, or people who want to handle, businesses who want to handle cars, need to verify those cars first to make sure they're handling or buying the right vehicles. That vehicle verification is important to them, to people, to businesses, and to individuals. Now, this is our most important assumption. If this assumption is no longer true tomorrow, then Legitcare Africa as a business ceases to exist, because nobody needs our business. Yeah, so we are in business today because people need vehicle verification and vehicle evaluation. So if they stop needing it, if they don't care, if they just go ahead and buy cars, then there's no business for Legitcare Africa. Another one is on clear value proposition. What value are you giving these businesses? People who are paying for your business, what are they getting in return? You know, sometimes when you are pitching your business, you kind of think it's straightforward. Because it's straightforward to you doesn't mean it's straightforward to the next person. So if you're not clear about the value that that your customers are going to be getting from patronizing you, or from using your service, or from buying your product, then there's every chance that investors are not going to take you serious, and your customers are not going to take you serious. And I can tell you that the most important investors are even your customers, because especially not just now, in Nigeria and in emerging markets, institutional investors will always want to see what your traction is. Do you have even one paying customer? If one person is not paying for your business, then there's a chance that nobody wants to pay for it. If one person, 2, 3 people pay for it, then it means there's a chance 100,000 people are going to pay for it, if you look in the right direction and if the market size is big enough. But we are coming to that. Weak financial projections, insufficient attention to execution. So weak financial projections it still takes us back to research. So if you do not research things like how big your market is, how you are going to penetrate this market, which is the execution part, and what your projections are, how you are going to be real, and how realistic you are about what amount of revenue you are going to be having in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter, based on historical records, then you're going to be having weak financial projections, because it's easy for investors. Investors have seen decks that look like yours and are better than yours, and have rejected that. So why are they going to take yours? If your numbers make sense, it's a very strong point. and they can see through bullshit. They can look at numbers that you write. If the financial projections are crazy, they know. Any experienced investor will know. I'm not even an experienced investor, but once I look at your numbers, if it's not making sense, I'll know. I'll tell you that this is not going to make sense. And the funny thing is, you might not be there to explain to the investor that this is this and this and that is why you think it makes sense, and or how you arrived at that. But then, yeah, so you should be sure that from the beginning that your numbers make sense, that you don't just pluck numbers from the air. There should be a reason why you think that these numbers are realistic, these numbers are attainable, because we have a team that can handle this business and get us to so and so numbers, or we believe we are going to hit these numbers because this is that. So your financial projections are always going to be based on something, not based out of nothing. So poor presentation and formatting, we've talked about this. Failing to show traction. So at the earliest stages, nobody expects you to show a lot of traction in terms of revenue, but traction could be anything. Traction could be number of deals you've signed, number of users you've been able to onboard, who is on your waiting list, even if you've not built a website or a landing page. So the Tony Elumelu entrepreneurship program, for example, I'm sure you know about the program. They're one of the few incubators that accept ideas. So yeah, when you accept ideas, they also ask you for traction, meaning that they need to see the work you've put into validating that idea. Yeah, so who have you been talking to? Who's on your waiting list? Who has signed up to use your service and all that? That's still evidence of traction. And sometimes traction can, on very rare occasions, traction can be a team. What kind of team have you been able to put together? Are they A-listers? Are they rock stars? What kind of experience do they have? So yeah, so if you fail to show some form of traction, that you've at least validated that idea, if it's still in the idea stage, then nobody's going to take you serious because you have no skin in the game. You've not put anything into the startup. So the business plan versus pitch deck, I talked about that at the beginning. So the business plan is a long, detailed document typically produced in Word, while pitch deck is normally between 10 to 20 pages in length and often produced in PowerPoint. But it is a much more visual document designed entirely to sell the business to potential investors or lenders or anyone else that reads it. So I'm supposing that you are going to be getting this presentation, presentation slide after the class, so that you'll be able to take this home. Of course, the pitch deck tells a compelling visual story about the business potential. So a business plan, like I said earlier, more comprehensive. Yeah. Okay. The goal of the pitch deck is to capture investor interest and secure the subsequent meeting. So I told you that most of the time before an investor asks for a business plan, that it's likely that they've seen your pitch deck already, because that's what's going to help them determine if they want to talk to you again or if they don't. Give me a second. Am I seeing a hand? Okay, no. All right. So both documents can serve you, but understanding their differences help you select the best tool for attracting investment or charting your company's path. Okay, so if you're seeking debt financing, you need a business plan. So debt financing is for more advanced businesses. Yeah, raising a large amount, you need to be advanced. When you have co-founders, to have a written and agreed upon plan to make sure everyone stays on track and executes the way you intended. Yeah, so you can see when you need a business plan, but at this initial stage of your business, you should focus more on designing a beautiful presentation slides and an informative presentation slide, and then understanding how each of these pages, each of those slides connect with each other. When you need a pitch deck and not a business plan, when you are seeking equity funding, networking with investors, seeking co-founders, applying to an accelerator, which is at this stage of your business, this is what you are going to be concentrating on. All right, so we've looked at this already. Crafting a business plan. So business plans aren't just for paperwork. They drive action and results. Think of your business plan as a multi-purpose tool that serves several vital functions. They attract investors, fundraise or secure loans, map your strategy, provide a strategic roadmap, track business progress, or provide a performance benchmark, win over partners, talents, and potential hires. Okay, so you're going to be getting these. What's in a business plan, the executive summary, company overview, market analysis, management, products or services. I don't want to bore you with the details because I can see we are running out of time. So those are the contents of a business plan. So what to note about pitch decks? I think we've talked about this. What in most decks? Okay, length. So not spelling out the problem. It's actually a problem that you see with some pitch decks. So your problem is one of the most important reasons why you are doing your business. So if there's no problem your business is solving, then you're better off not being in business. So, and then solving a problem, especially in Nigeria, where disposable income is not much, you must have to be able to differentiate between a nice to have solution and a must have. Yeah. So there are solutions that are nice to have. When they're nice to have, people are only able to use your service when they have disposable income. But when it's a must have, it's either you're saving businesses or individuals money, or you're helping them reduce the amount of time it takes them to do something, or you are a better alternative than an existing one. Yeah. So remember that there's businesses or solutions are divided into nice to have and must have. If it's nice to have, people can do without it and nothing changes. Maybe they just want to show off with it, but if it's a must have, it's serving a critical purpose. It makes people's lives better. It's something that people can't do without. So let me give people in some classes, they will tell you that some businesses are painkillers while others are vitamins. Yeah, or vitamins rather. Sorry. So a painkiller means that someone is having an excruciating pain, and your business steps in to cure the pain. A vitamin is an add-on. People can survive for ages without vitamins, and they don't die. But a painkiller means that if you're having a severe pain, you must look for something to cure that pain. And your business should be that painkiller, should be something that people need at that critical point to cure that pain. So that's the difference between a must-have and a nice-to-have. Okay, now still market size figures. So another thing that you should also be very careful about when crafting your pitch deck is the market size. Most investors, they look at your introduction, they look at your problem, they look at your market size, they look at the solution, and then they go to the team. Really, an accelerator like Y Combinator will tell you that they only invest in the team. That if you have a solid team and you give them a bad idea, they're going to tweak that bad idea till it becomes a good idea and they make something out of it. But if the team is terrible and you give them a wonderful idea, they're going to mess it up. So remember this, a lot of investors I've talked to, I know this because I've talked to a lot of them and I've raised funding from investors a couple of times. They look at your introduction, they look at the problem you're solving, they look at how you're solving that problem, then they look at the market size and they look at the team. Why they're looking at the market size is to determine if it's a big problem. How many people are you solving this problem for? is there a chance that anybody is going to make a load of money from solving this problem? Because yeah, sometimes you're solving a niche problem that's not very big, that's just for a small group of people. And if you're solving for a small group of people, if you're solving a problem for 500,000 people in Nigeria, and someone else is solving a problem for 100 million people in Nigeria, you are not the same. You're not going to be making the same amount of money. So even if the person solving for 100 million people in Nigeria is charging a fraction of the amount of money you're charging, they're still going to be more successful than you are, because the market size is much, much bigger than yours. Yeah, all right. So financials built from top-down assumptions, no reference to a sales or marketing strategy from your idea. These are pitfalls, the problems associated with pitch decks, not being proofread, not articulating the investment opportunity, no mention of an exit strategy. So yeah, so when you get this presentation, this is going to be a link where you can see examples of pitch decks that you can copy. I know that at this initial stage, you might not. Some people, I can tell you, I've talked to people who have not even seen pitch decks before, what a pitch deck looks like, but they have business ideas. So this is going to guide, even if you've seen them before. Learning is a continuous process. You can still learn a thing or two about pitch decks by how the pitch decks you're going to be seeing, clicking on this link, will look like. Now, key takeaways. Pitch decks are shorter than business plans. Pitch decks are usually used for quick presentations to potential investors, partners, or clients, while business plans are used for internal planning, securing backlogs, and other traditional financing like debt financing and all, and then with more detailed discussions with investors. So the choice between a pitch deck or a business plan depends on the purpose. Yeah, we've talked about what you need a pitch deck for and what you need a business plan for. You can turn a business plan into a pitch deck by extracting the core details and translating them into a visually engaging presentation format. Now, conclusion, both pitch deck and business plans are essential tools for driving a business forward, but serve different purposes. Now, you have to consider your need. What are you planning for? Who are you talking to? At what stage is your business? That's also going to determine what you're going to be needing. Are you needing a pitch deck or a business plan? But then I suppose, or I assume that most of the people on this call are early stage businesses. So you should, if you are an early stage business, you should put more effort into designing a pitch deck and into being able to pitch your startup without fear. I can see some of you still have fear in you. It's fine, it's fine. But then by the time you pitch your startups a lot of time, again and again and again and again, that fear is definitely gonna go away, because it's your most important job as a business owner to sell your startup, and you're going to be doing that many times. You can't run away from it. You can't delegate it. Yeah. So it's okay to start with a simple plan or canvas and build upon it as the business evolves, rather than trying to create an elaborate business plan up front. So thank you very much for listening to me for the past, I think, 14 minutes. Wow, how time flies. And I can now take your questions. Please don't tell me you don't have any questions. I'm sure I've talked long enough for you to have loads and loads of questions. All right, let me see your hands for your questions. It's time for your questions.
So if you have a question, you can unmute your mic and then speak. Or indicate with like the hand raised icon. Or put it in the chat if you have issues with your network. So it can even be about your business. Maybe you want him to review something in your own pitch deck for your business or business plan, if that's your own idea.
Oh, Does it mean I didn't make sense all this while? Because if you're not asking any questions, it means I didn't make sense.
Okay, there's a question in the chat from Omari.
Structuring a pitch deck. All right, let's go back to that. I'm trying to go back to that structure in a pitch deck. So yeah, so this is how you create a pitch deck. Of course, it's mostly self-explanatory. Problem slides. What problem are you solving with your business? Like who are you solving that problem for? What is the problem you're trying to solve? And then your solution slides. So there's always there's a mistake people make. They write a problem and they write a solution that doesn't solve that problem. So if you say, for example, that you're trying to, that the problem is that there's infant mortality in Nigeria, and your solution, the solution you are now showing is how your app works. How your app works is not a direct response to a problem, is the problem you. So there's always, sometimes if it's a technical solution you're having, how it works can be a different deck. But now your solution should be what your business is doing exactly to solve that infant mortality problem, not how your app works. So what is your business doing? Or how are you using your business to solve it? Not how your app works. Not you go to the menu, you go to checkout. Now that's not how you're solving the problem. So people make this mistake all the time. So your solution slide should directly address the problem you said that your business is solving. Then the market size and opportunity, I already talked about that. The market size and opportunity, there's the TAM, there's the SAM, and there's TAM, there's the SAM, serviceable addressable markets, and I've forgotten. I think it's in the deck somewhere. So there's they are usually classified into three big. Let me look for it. It's because this is a very important thing. You should know it. Let me find it in the deck. It has skipped my mind. Sorry, I'm wasting your time on this, but for you to see how important it is, it's really important that you know this particular one. Okay. So you have the TAM, the serviceable addressable market, and serviceable obtainable market. So yeah, that's it. So this is something you should take note of. Let me give you an example of how this works. So for the TAM, for example, you can use the number of people that your service can reach. Number of people that your service can reach. Then for the SAM, you can use I'm trying to use, can you, Omari, can you give me what you do again so I can explain it I can explain these terms in very, very clear word, the way everybody will understand it with examples, instead of just explaining to you serviceable addressable market and obtainable market. Are you there? What does your business do again? Hello, Amari.
You can type what your business is about in the chat box. In the side you're on transit. So just type it in the chat box, your business.
Okay, someone else can give me what their business does. I will explain to you how it works.
So he has answered. He said his business is not operational yet, but he wants to build something that provides a platform that connects users to taskers that can
What?
take on users to taskers. So I think it's supposed to be, I think he has mentioned it before, a place where you possibly can, for freelancers, where I think like a version of Upwork.
All right. So so basically, so the term for your business will be if everybody in your target market, let's say your target market is in Nigeria, it's everybody that needs that service in Nigeria uses your service. That's the term. Yeah, that's the total addressable market. Now, when you go to the SAM, those are the SAM is usually a percentage of a portion of the company you can serve. You can serve. Say all those people coming now, how many of them can you serve? Then the obtainable market is how many of those people in the total addressable market can you realistically obtain? So that's how it works. So if everybody that needs your kind of service in Nigeria uses your service, that's the total addressable market. That's the size of your market. How many of them can you address? Total addressable market, like how many of them can you realistically service? Then serviceable, obtainable market. Then how many of those 100 million people who need a service like yours in Nigeria, how many of them can you capture? How many of them can you obtain? How many of them can you get to use your service? And then I think at this point, you should also understand that some people will not use your service regardless of what you do. And you need to make peace with that. Even if you pay them money to use your service, they can collect your money and still not use your service. So you should understand that not everybody that has the problem you're trying to solve will use it. So when you're crafting your market size figures, make sure you have that in mind. So let's go back to the pitch deck. So business model, how are you going to make money? What's your product or service? So the product or service is exactly what I was saying about how it works. So business model, how are you going to make money? Traction, what have you achieved? Team and milestones, the competitive landscape, who are your competitors? How are you better than they are? How are they better than you are? Financial projections, how much are you going to be making in the next 6 months? Remember, this is not going to be plucked from the earth. It has to be based on something. Ask, what are you asking for? What amount of money are you asking for? For what amount of equity? Or what kind of financing are you looking for? And what are you going to do with that money? So that's basically how you craft a pitch deck. I don't know if I've answered your question, Omari. All right. While we're waiting for his response, I'm waiting for more questions from you. Who else has more questions? You can unmute yourself and ask. Oh, no more questions? Please don't be shy. Anything you ask, I'll answer. Even if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, I'll come back and answer.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
My apologies for earlier. I was having difficulty in unmuting my mic when you called my name. So my question is, how do you pitch to an investor when you know that realistically your idea may not generate revenue in the first year of implementation? Let's say probably I want to build an app where, maybe to make learning easy. I'm just giving an example, a rough example. But you know that since you're not putting out a premium strategy for people to probably pay for that service, you want to, make it free for them to use it, then probably use when you want to update or modify, then you use a premium strategy for, when you want to get more offers, pay to get more offers. But you know that at least for the first year, you have to make it free to attract users for them to use it. and you most likely need funding for your business. How do you, and at that point, you may not have the numbers, but then you need an investor. So how do you pitch to an investor when you know that you may or may not generate revenue in your first year of business implementation?
All right. So it depends on what you are looking for. I think at that stage, at the idea stage, you should be, if you've not even built, you should be looking more for grants. That, especially if you are not a second-time founder or a repeat founder, you should be looking more towards getting grants that's going to help you do those things, or impact investors if your business is impact driven, because not a lot of institutional investors do not actually like businesses that don't have any revenue at all. They want to see some form of revenue. That's one. Second, if you're a repeat investor, it means that a repeat founder, it means that investors trust you enough. They've seen what you've done with a previous startup. So if you are telling them that, okay, in my projections, I'm projecting that I'm going to give this service out to 100 million users in the first year, and in the second year, those 100 million users, I'm going to be able to get 30 million of them to pay me 3,000 naira every month, and then it's realistic. Of course, they want to get in. Do you know that in the first two, even up to last year, that Kuda is not making any money? Last year, they lost 21 billion, I think. 21 billion naira. Kuda, you all know Kuda. But investors are still funding them because they keep on amassing users. And once they find a way to make money off those users, off the fraction of those users, investors are going to get their money back. So it goes back to what I told you about the team. Who is on your team? How experienced are they? How are your projections making sense? If you're projecting to an investor that this is your marketing plan, you are giving out these things for free in the first year because you are targeting 200 million users, 100 million users, 1 million users, 500,000 users. And then the second year, these 500,000 users are going to pay you this. So there has to be a plan. It's not just about giving out your service for free because you want, what is the plan? They need to see what the plans are, what your projections are. And your plan in the first year should be in your projections. So when is it going to end? When is it going to transition from a loss-making venture to a profit-making one? And how are you going to do that? So these things need to be stated in black and white so that the investor that is going on a journey with you will know where you're going, you know where you're headed. I don't know if I made any sense to you. All right. I can see your hands. It's fine. Thank you. All right. More questions? Please do not be afraid to ask. You can ask me my age. I'll tell you. There's nothing that's off limits.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, Ayodele.
Sir, I wanted to need more clarification. I don't know if you've actually mentioned that in the course of the presentation.
All right.
That is a point where you mentioned we should look at what investors will want to see instead of what we think we want to include in our either business plan or our pitch. And you mentioned some points like problem, opportunity, traction, value proposition, market size, and the rest. So I wanted to know what if, because the way I'm thinking, I thought different investors have different ways of viewing your pitch.
Yeah.
So how can you actually, or how can you pitch a document or a presentation that can actually attract funding from a particular investor? Like, is it the case that you have to do certain underground investigation of what this investor actually liked? So I don't know if you can actually throw more light on it.
You've already answered the question. So for our business, for example, we have different pitch decks. So depending on who the investor is, you know what their investment philosophy is. Of course, you structure your deck to meet that. If you are for example, if you're pitching to the government, for example, it's not the same thing you are going to write if you are pitching to me if I have $10,000 to give you or 10,000 pounds to give you. If the government says bring your pitch deck, and I say bring your pitch deck, if you give us exactly the same thing, then you don't know what you're doing. You're going to talk to the government about how you're going to reach a lot of people in different states, how it's going to increase job creation. You know the kind of stories the government like to hear, how you're going to employ more people, how it's going to. Now, these things, there are things that you know that the government is more interested in. Those things don't matter to me if I don't make money. You're going to be telling me how I'm going to, the 10,000 pounds I'm giving you, how you're going to turn it to 50,000 pounds in 1 year. That's what I want to hear. The government is patient. You can take them 20 years. If you're employing 100, if they give you money today, you employ 200 million people and you never return their money, and those guys keep working for you, they're happy. But I'm not happy how many people you employ. You give me my money back with interest. So every investor have their investment philosophy. Yeah. So you should understand that, know who the investor you're pitching to is, what they value, are they impact driven, do they want their money back in the next 5 years or in the 10 years, what is their investment philosophy, their investment thesis. So that's the best way to look at it. But then no two pitch decks are the same, except you don't want to put in the work. Did I answer your question, Ayodele? Did I answer it at all?
Yes, sir, you did. You did. Thank you, sir.
All right, welcome. Who's next? Have we overshot our time?
A quick question, sir.
All right.
Please, how do you get investors? Now, earlier when you were answering my question, you made mention of two categories of investors. You said impact investors and institutional investors. So I'm guessing that these two investors cannot be in the same place, I am guessing. But then how do you get investors for what you want?
So so thank you. Some institutional investors are impact driven too. So they give you money, you make money for them, and then you touch the lives of people. I'm sure this program will give you access to where you can see applications. So one of the things about joining programs like this, it's not just because Vincent is going to be on this program on one of the classes to say a lot of things about pitch decks and all. It's about the community, about giving you access to opportunities, access you don't usually have. So I'm sure they have access to applications that are open when these applications are opening, access to accelerators, incubators. They can give you even contacts to people you can mail your deck to. So that's how it works. So people join programs not just because of what you're going to get out of it today, but then because you are joining a community. Once opportunities come out, it's shared to everybody, and you're able to know what programs are accepting applications at this point. But then do not isolate yourself. I'm saying it because I'm sure there will be some sort of alumni or something for this program. This program, I'm very, very, very sure, is going to be giving you access to more information as they come. Yeah, so that's the best way. Being part of communities, knowing which applications are open, which applications are accepting, which incubators, accelerators are accepting applications and all. So the best way to get it is not from Vincent, it's from this program. Yeah. Did I answer your question, Blyson?
Yes, you did. Well, thank you so much, sir.
You're most welcome. All right. So, in the absence of any further questions, I'll be handing over the mic. Oh, okay. Please. Go ahead. I can see your hand.
Right. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, please.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
This is my network. Yes, sir. Oh, all right. So I wanted to expatiate on the aspect of background doing a market research. So how do you do a proper market research for before making a pitch deck, like in the aspect of market research. So I'd like to get more explanation on that, sir.
So market research.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, thank you very much. So a lot of people, especially in tech, they like to sit behind their laptops and build and build and build and build, without even asking the people that are building for, do you even need what I'm building? So I've seen people who have finished building a beautiful app, the website, before they've talked to the first customer. That's a very bad way to build a product, because the truth is, even if it's a problem, even if infant mortality is a problem in Nigeria, the way you are solving that problem, is it the way people who have that problem want it to be solved? Can majority of the people who have that problem afford the solution you are offering? How is there going to be a better and a cheaper way to solve that problem, and a more effective way than the way you are? Some people who try to craft these solutions end up creating more problems for the people who have those problems. In fact, I've been in a pitch deck where someone presented, and then after the presentation, one of the judges said, "Nah, this is a solution looking for a problem." So that is because there was no research. You are building a solution for a problem that doesn't exist. So you build a solution and then you start looking for a problem to solve. That's the wrong way. So you must find the problem, validate it through user testing, talking to users, going online. For Google is your friend. I know access to information is a huge problem in Nigeria. In fact, that's why we're in the vehicle data business, because whatever it is you need regarding vehicle data in Nigeria, we have it. So if we don't have it, it probably does not exist. Yeah, so access to data is a problem. But then, yeah, you should go online. The little data you have, you should be able to put it together, talk to people, talk to, if there are existing startups that have built this and they're no longer building it, find out why they dropped off. Yeah, so there are startups, there are ideas that are a graveyard for startups, especially in Nigeria. If you go into one of such ideas, chances are you're going to end up in the grave too. Yeah, so do a lot of research. People who have dropped out from working on the idea, why did they drop off? How many people who have the problem you're trying to solve? Talk to people who have the problem. Ask them, if this is solved in this particular way, are you going to use it? Will you pay money for it? Will you pay? Don't ask them, how much are you going to pay for it? They might say one call. Ask them, would you pay? Be more specific. Will you pay 100 naira for it? Let's say, try to also quantify the amount of money that problem is making them lose. So if that problem is making them lose 10 million naira every day, making them lose 1 million naira every day, making them lose 10,000 naira every day, ask them, will you be willing to pay 1,000 naira every day for me to make this problem go away in this particular manner? I can tell you that nobody will steal your idea. The idea for Facebook is out there. The idea for Twitter is out there, yet nobody has stolen it. So it's execution that matters. It's not your idea. Nobody cares about your idea. It's about how you execute it. Yeah. So that's I don't know if I answered your question, please. Hello, Peace. Did I make any sense to you?
Yes, very much, sir. You mentioned some of the methods of us to make and I think you answered it, sir. Yeah, and actually my question at